Today's lesson is called GM Mosquitoes, a risky solution to humanity's pest problem? Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
I am Roger, and today we're going to talk about bugs, especially mosquitoes. Okay, most of us don't like mosquitoes. They tend to wake us up in the middle of the night, and they always fly toward our ears for some reason, and we can hear them buzzing, but we can never seem to kill them quickly enough. So, yeah, I think most people would like to see the world rid of mosquitoes, but now we've got something called GM mosquitoes, genetically modified mosquitoes. And is that a risky solution to humanity's pest problem? That's a good question here. Yes, we'd like to get rid of mosquitoes, but they may play a role in the food chain.
Will this solve all of our problems as far as pests are concerned? Or are we taking a big risk? Could we be fooling with Mother Nature and be making a big mistake in the process? That's kind of the question that we'll be discussing over the next couple of days. Anyways, we are going to focus on genetically modified mosquitoes. Okay, how interesting. I'm not a fan of mosquitoes either, but hey, if they can solve our problems for us, I'm willing to give them a chance. Okay, folks, with that, it's time for us to start reading from our article. We'll stop for right now, read it, and then come back and discuss it.
GM mosquitoes, a risky solution to humanity's pest problem? In 2021, 750 million genetically modified GM mosquitoes will be gradually released in the Florida Keys, an area of the United States that is home to a disease-carrying mosquito species known as Aedes aegypti. This particular species, which can transmit dengue, Zika, and yellow fever to humans, has developed a resistance to pesticides, so controlling these mosquitoes by conventional methods is almost impossible.
大家好，标题中我们看到单字 risky 这个字是形容词，指危险的、有风险的。例如 Investing all your savings in Maurice's startup would be a risky move. 投资你所有的钱在 Maurice 的新创事业上是一个很有风险的决定。另外，这个字去掉字尾 y risk 就可以当动词，也可以当名词。当动词时，这个字指冒着点点点的危险，冒险做点点点。像是 The woman risked her life to save the cat from the fire. 那个女人冒险从火中救猫。而 risk 当名词时是指风险、危险。我们来看几个相关片语。第一 run the risk of 加名词或动词 ing 表示冒着点点点的危险。我们可以说 If we don't leave now, we will run the risk of missing the plane. 如果我们现在不出门，就会有错过班机的风险。第二Put somebody or something at risk 表示让某人事物陷入险境。举例来说 The soldier put his own life at risk to save his friend. 那名士兵冒着生命危险去拯救他的朋友。第三 Pose a risk to 表示对点点点构成威胁。像是 The chemicals used at the factory pose a risk to people living in the area. 工厂里所使用的化学药品对生活在这区的人们造成威胁。接着我们看到片语 be home to 加名词，表示点点点的所在地、栖息地，某地拥有点点点。举例来说 The swamp region is home to various kinds of frogs. 这片沼泽区是各种青蛙的栖息地。另外补充一个相关片语 make something one's home 表示以点点点为家，在点点点栖息。例如 James was born in France, but he made Brazil his home. James 在法国出生，但他以巴西为家。再来，我们看到动词 transmit 指传播、传递。例如 The plague was transmitted by fleas on rats. 这波瘟疫是经由老鼠身上的跳蚤传播的。或是 The radio station transmitted a message to the other side of the world. 无线电台把讯息传送到世界的另一端。接下来我们看到单字 conventional 这个字是形容词，指传统的、通常的、常规的。 像是 I'm just going to wear a conventional black suit to Clinton's wedding. 我打算就穿传统的黑西装出席 Clinton 的婚礼。另外，补充一个相关片语 conventional wisdom 表示一般见解、普遍看法。我们可以说 Conventional wisdom has it that a book shouldn't be judged by its cover. 普遍看法是不应该以貌取人。
Okay, so again for review, the subject for today is all about genetically modified mosquitoes. And yeah, this is a question. Is this a risky solution to humanity's pest problem? At least getting rid of those mosquitoes by making them genetically modified. We'll talk about exactly what they're doing with mosquitoes in just a couple of seconds here. But first of all, let's talk about the word risky here. If something's risky, it involves some danger or some risk, okay? There are some stocks that are risky. We'd all like to make a killing on the stock market, and we'd like to invest in certain stocks and make some quick cash. But unfortunately, some stocks are quite risky. Yeah, we want to make the money, but we might lose a lot of money as well.
Yeah, the other day someone said, Jeff, I bet you my house versus your house. And I went, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, one coin flip. Heads, I win your house. Tails, you win my house. And I said, are you kidding? That's way too risky. I would never do anything like that. That's dangerous and silly. I'm putting things at risk that I shouldn't put at risk. Get out of here with that risky proposition of yours. Further, we also have this word humanity when we're talking about humans as a whole, in general, as a species, all over the world, where we can use this word humanity. So are these GM mosquitoes, are they a risky solution to humanity's pest problem? Will the problem of pests go away for humans in general for all time because of GM mosquitoes? That is the question. Anyways, in 2021, 750 million genetically modified or GM mosquitoes will be gradually released in the Florida Keys, an area of the United States that is home to a disease-carrying mosquito species known as Aedes aegypti. And yes, I am from Florida. The Florida Keys is swarming with bugs all the time, especially in the evenings there. Special trucks patrol the streets, spraying pesticides to keep things under control. Otherwise, you would just be swarmed with bugs. So it is not a surprise to me at all that they're going to do this in the Florida Keys.
Yeah, Keys are islands, I guess. They're kind of low-lying islands, especially in the Caribbean Sea there. But yes, we've got these mosquitoes being released in that part of the United States. And these mosquitoes are genetically modified. Genetically means having to do with genes. Gene is the Chinese word. And to modify something means to make a small change in something, okay? So maybe you have a robot or something like that that cleans your floor or something like that, but it's not doing a good job. So you take it in to the shop and you ask them to modify your robot. I would like my robot to be modified so that it cleans the floor better.
There you go. Change the brushes so that they're more powerful. They sweep better, so on and so forth. Modify this thing. Take it and make it better and somehow. And these days, scientists have the ability to change our genes or to genetically modify us, although usually humans aren't genetically modified. People haven't started doing that a whole lot quite yet. But hey, They have genetically modified 750 million mosquitoes to be gradually released in the Florida Keys. Why? Because this particular area in the U.S. is home to a disease-carrying mosquito species, and they want to do something about this particular species. By the way, if something is home to something, that thing can be found there, okay? As in, the North Pole is home to the polar bear.
Or the North Pole is home to Santa Claus. Or like here in Taiwan, the Central Mountain Range is home to the Formosan black bear. So yeah, basically we're saying that the Florida Keys has a lot of this particular mosquito. It's a mosquito that is disease carrying. It carries diseases. So if you get bit or bitten by this mosquito, you might get sick, and that's no good. And as you know, there are lots of different species of mosquitoes out there, different kinds in different parts of the world. I suspect there are hundreds, if not thousands, of different species of mosquitoes out there. This particular species is known as Aedes aegypti. Okay, that's the zoological classification for this particular species. A species is a kind of animal that is the same and they can reproduce with each other.
Like lions and tigers are two different species, but they're kind of related because they're both cats. So they can have babies. I believe the babies are called lions and ligers, but lions and ligers can't actually have babies themselves because they're the offspring of two animals that are not species. Anyways, we've got a bad type of species of mosquito down there in the Florida Keys. This particular species, which can transmit dengue, Zika, and yellow fever to humans, has developed a resistance to pesticides. So controlling these mosquitoes by conventional methods is almost impossible. And yes, I remember those big trucks with big tanks of pesticides on the back there. In the evenings, they would go down the streets, up and down, spraying pesticides to keep those mosquitoes and other bugs at bay. And apparently, this just isn't working anymore, so they're trying a different method.
Yeah, some organisms develop a resistance to pesticides or to antibiotics and things like that. So yeah, they are no longer killed by those pesticides, which are chemicals designed to kill insects or animals or bugs or whatever. So yeah, you cannot control them by conventional methods. Conventional just means standard, nothing really special. Like we've got nuclear war, which of course uses nuclear weapons, but most wars are fought with conventional weapons like guns and tanks and machine guns and stuff like that.
Yeah, basically here, conventional means normal and accepted, what the standard is for now. And this bad species transmits a lot of bad diseases, i.e., it carries them and can give them to you. And that is not a good thing. Something has to be done. And now that conventional methods no longer work, well, we're going to try something new. Maybe a risky solution, people might think. Anyways, with that, folks, it's time for us to take a short break. But don't go away. When we come back, we'll talk some more about GM mosquitoes.
Female mosquitoes suck blood to produce eggs, but male mosquitoes do not bite. All of the GM mosquitoes are therefore male and have been modified to possess genes that will cause female offspring to die before they mature. If all goes according to plan, the local mosquito population will decline, and the diseases carried by these mosquitoes will no longer be passed to people. Millions of such GM mosquitoes have already been released in Brazil and the Cayman Islands, where local mosquito populations have decreased by up to 80%. If no more GM mosquitoes are released, the modified genes will naturally disappear from the population after a few generations, and mosquito numbers may return to previous levels.
第二部分我们看到动词 possess 指拥有、具有。举例来说 This museum possesses the most famous statue in the world. 这个博物馆拥有世界上最著名的雕像。最后我们看到单字 offspring 这个字是名词，指后代、子女。举例来说 I'm proud to be my grandfather's offspring. 我以身为我祖父的后代为荣。
All right. Now, one thing, of course, we know about mosquitoes is that they like to suck our blood for some reason. I've noticed sometimes when I kill mosquitoes and you smash them on the wall, there is often a blood stain along with those mosquitoes. Yeah, that means that those mosquitoes have sucked blood out of you or someone else. So, yeah, this only happens with the female mosquitoes. They suck blood to produce eggs. Those mosquitoes need that blood. That's why mosquitoes are so nasty. They like us because they can get blood from us. But the male mosquitoes, well, they're okay. They do not bite. It's the females that want the blood. The males, they don't really care so much about that kind of stuff.
Now, all of the GM mosquitoes are therefore male and have been modified to possess genes, to have these genes, these pieces of genetic material that will cause female offspring to die before they mature. So maybe some babies are made, but hey, those female babies, the female offspring, they'll die before they can mature, okay? When they mature, they start sucking blood because they want to lay eggs and stuff like that. But if they die before they reach this point, they won't be spreading diseases anymore. They won't have a need to suck that blood, so they won't be transmitting diseases anymore.
Right, so to possess means to have something, and genes, of course, we just say gene in Chinese. You get the idea. Offspring, of course, are the children of those mosquitoes or with any living thing. And if all goes according to plan, the local mosquito population will decline, and the diseases carried by these mosquitoes will no longer be passed to people. That sounds like good news there. This is a plan that the scientists have. And of course, they want these things to go according to plan, which means to work out the way they want to. If your company is trying to market its new product in the European market, you've got a plan for that. So you want things to go according to plan. You want things to work out the way you planned them to.
Yay, things have gone according to plan. Now, millions of such GM mosquitoes have already been released in Brazil and the Cayman Islands, where local mosquito populations have decreased by up to 80%. That's good news. That's a big, big decrease. If no more GM mosquitoes are released, the modified genes will naturally disappear from the population after a few generations, and mosquito numbers may then return to previous levels.
I guess they have been increasing in numbers in recent years, and hopefully this will balance things out. Okay, and now let's move on to the third part of our lesson, and we'll wrap up today's lesson.
This method is reversible, relatively cheap, and it doesn't damage the environment with harmful pesticides. If it's successful, a similar solution could be used in Africa to combat mosquitoes carrying the deadly malaria disease.
Okay, before the break, we talked about how in Brazil and the Cayman Islands, they've been able to release these mosquitoes, these GM mosquitoes, and the populations have dropped. But here's the kicker. This is a good thing. If you don't release more of these GM mosquitoes into the environment, mosquito populations can rebound. They won't go extinct or anything like that because even though we don't like mosquitoes, we don't want them to go totally extinct. So this method is reversible, like I said before. You can allow for those mosquito populations to come back. This method is reversible, relatively cheap, and it doesn't damage the environment with harmful pesticides. Yay! And if it's successful, a similar solution could be used in Africa to combat mosquitoes carrying the deadly malaria disease. So this is just a win-win situation, right? Not exactly. Next time we'll be talking about the possible drawbacks in this whole GM Mosquitoes plan. For now, though, it's time for you guys to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分写到说，雌蚊也就是母的蚊子会吸血产卵，但公蚊不会叮咬，因此所有基改的蚊子都是公的。那它们被改造成带有能让雌蚊幼虫在发育成熟之前就死亡的基因。好，句子里面用到 possess 来表达拥有或是具有。那我们来学它的字首字根。好，看到 SESS或是 SED 或是 SID 或是 SIDE 这一类的字根呢，就有 sit 坐或者是就坐的意思，那它们带有保持在某种状态的含义。那么在 possess 这个字当中呢，它的字首 POS 表示具有掌控力，那么 SESS 表示坐。那同学们可以试着用坐拥大权的方式去联想，某个人坐在那边一直握有掌控的力量，那这样也许可以联想到 possess 它有支配、持有、占有或是拥有的意思。我们顺便补充两个有相同字根的单字，第一个是 session SESSION， 它的字根 SESS 表示坐，ION 是名词字尾。那么同学们试着想想看，什么样的场合要大家来坐下来呢？通常就是有开会集会的时候嘛，所以 session 这个字它就有会议、会期的意思。第二个补充的是 obsess OBSESS， 好，它的字首 OB 是有对抗的语义，那么字根 SESS 是指坐。同学们可以试着想，当你看到心爱的人、心爱的偶像就好像被困坐在那里，坐在那边你完全无法对抗他的魅力，整个人都被迷住了，所以 obsess 它就有着迷、迷住的意思哦。好，同样在课文第二部分呢，有提到说几百万只这类基改蚊子已经被释放到巴西和开曼群岛，当地的蚊子数量已经减少了，那减少的量有高达 80%。 文中是用到 up to 来表达多达、高达，那这时候它后面通常会接表示数字或数量等等的名词，像我们可以说 up to 30,000 people 就是高达3万个人。那么 up to 还有其他不同的意思跟用法，我们来学一下。第一个呢，用事物来当主词的时候，后面接 be up to somebody 就可以表达某事物呢是某人的责任，由某人来决定。像我们可以说 it's up to you， 就是说这件事情给你做决定，你决定就好。第二个用法，用人来当主词的话，在后面接 be up to 加名词或动名词，可以表达出两种意思。一种是表达说某人有能力做某事，举例来说 Do you think they are up to the challenge？ 你认为他们能胜任、能应付这个挑战吗？那另一种是表达说某人他在偷偷计划某事，偷偷做某事，尤其是不好的事。像我们可以说When the kids are quiet, they are usually up to no good. 当小孩子很安静的时候，他们通常都是在偷偷做某事，在动歪脑筋。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Humanity. Throughout history, humanity has suffered many diseases and environmental disasters. Modify. Many people like to modify their motorcycles to make them faster.Species. There are over 800 known species of freshwater fish in North America. Conventional. The conventional way to structure an essay is to write an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Possess. It has become increasingly common for households to possess more than one vehicle. Gene. A child's eye color depends on the combination of genes passed down from each
parent.Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.